Hi.
Oi, so they give access to their job portal, Geeks for free?
Yes, complimentary with the course.
And you got your job through that?
Me and 15,000 others across the world.
No way!
Oh, yes, Wiz. Don't delay. Enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hello everyone. Please tell me in the comment section below if I'm perfectly visible and audible to all of you, and then we will quickly start with the webinar. Please let me know in the comment section below. Send me a yes. Okay. Cool. So I'll quickly tell what this webinar is going to be about. So first of all, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. My name is Muskan Agarwal and we have Ojasvi with us today. He is going to share his interview experience with us. So without any further ado, just let me add him to the stream.
Hi, am I visible? Hello? Okay. So, um,
You can ask your friends to join the webinar as well.
okay.
You're not visible. Cool. People are really excited to have you here. Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with your introduction.
Okay. So, hello, I'm Ojasvi Shaklya. I completed my bachelor's degree in engineering from NSID, New Delhi, and that too in this year, in the last year, 2021. And I'm an incoming ST at Expedia.
Okay, that's really great. I think there are some network issues from your end, like your video is stuck. Can you just check it once?
Okay. Um,
Yeah, I think it's fine now.
okay.
Cool. So, Jasvi, can you tell the audience a bit about your coding journey? How did you start? From where did you start and everything?
Okay, so I did web and Android dev in first and second year, and some projects on Node, Flutter, and React. And I started DS a little late, nearly around third year, and I've been practicing questions on Lead Code, GFG, and CodeChef. I've done about 500, 600 questions on these, and I've spent most part in development, but for the past 1 year, I've focused more on data structures, and mostly data structures has helped me to crack such interviews.
Okay, okay, that is really good. So, Jasvi, how did you get to know about the opportunity at Expedia? Was it on-campus opportunity or off-campus?
It was an off-campus opportunity. Back in October, I saw a job opening on LinkedIn and applied for the post on the company portal itself, and it didn't require any referrals.
Okay, that is really nice. So, can you tell us like what all rounds were there and like what all online assessments or interview, like what was the entire procedure?
Yeah. So there were like 4 rounds of interviews. First round was a coding assessment on HackerRank. In that assessment, there were two coding problems and five MCQs. I don't remember exactly what these MCQs were, but they were
Mhm.
based on CS core subjects like OOPS and DBMS. The two coding questions were doable. They were of lead code medium level, I'd say. And I gave this round and I got the interview email in the late October. So it took about 2 3 weeks for the result, and I had about a week to prepare for the interviews.
Okay. Guys,
So
also, I forgot to mention if you have any questions for him, please feel free to put it in the comment section below and we will definitely try to take them at the end of this webinar.
yeah. So about the interviews. So for preparation, I explored GFG Expedia archives. So since I had only 1 week, I went through those archives and solved some problems that were previously asked. And for interviews, there were 3 rounds. The first round was based on object-oriented design. It was for the first time that I sat for such a round. So in this round, they give you a real-world scenario, and you have to explain what kind of programming paradigm and technologies would you use and why you would use those. So for someone who's like me and sitting for the first time for such a round, to prepare for these rounds, I'd suggest students to explore GFG. There is an article where there's a list of 20 something system design questions, and if you go through them, you would be able to answer most of the problems. So this was the first round. Uh, yeah. So the second round was based on data structures. The interviewer said that he'll give me 2 questions, and I have to solve those questions optimally in 45 minutes. So luckily, I solved both those questions in 30 minutes, and I had 15 minutes to spare. The interviewer asked me if I wanted to try another problem in the remaining time, so he gave me another problem. I solved that too. So I solved 3 problems under 45 minutes. So I was kind of confident about clearing this round.
Good.
Yeah, and about those problems, they were based on dynamic programming, and if someone has decent practice in DP questions, he'd be able to solve those. They weren't that difficult.
Okay. And there were 3 rounds, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Was it-
the last round was a managerial round. Uh, so if you are preparing for Expedia, you must know the 5 values of Expedia. They are definitely going to ask you questions about those, and you can study those values on the company website. So they asked me a few questions regarding those values, and he asked me a few scenarios like, have you ever seen a real world problem and tried to solve it with software development? And other such 8 9 scenarios. Like one was if there was a production bug and you knew it was your mistake and you can solve it without someone else's help, what would you do? So they ask such questions. You should probably ask those questions as candidly as possible.
Okay, cool. People are really interested in your college. They are asking what college are you from? Can you tell them?
Yeah, I'm from NSIT, Netaji Subhash Institute of Technology. It's in New Delhi.
Okay, so all of you asking this question, I hope that is answered now. Okay. The next thing was that was there any resume shortlisting before these online assessments and interviews?
I mean, I'm not sure because while applying, I did send my resume. So maybe there was a resume shortlisting based on that, and based on that, I got the interview, the test link on my email.
Okay. So do you have any tips for the resume? Like how should students prepare their resume and like some things that you did for in your resume that help you stand out from the rest of the students?
Yeah, so for resume, I did the resume was pretty basic. Like I did mention my GPA. I had good GPA. Like I had 9.05 GPA in college, so maybe that was a point. And I listed my projects. I list all projects, like all the full stack projects where you've implemented both back end and front end and utilize a database. Those do help. And I had a research paper in my core field. I did my engineering instrumentation and control, so I had a research paper on that. I had listed that on my resume. So I maybe that was the point. And other than that, if you don't have much projects and you've done internships in your second or third year, maybe mention those. That would help.
Cool. So as you mentioned projects, like should students work on any particular tech stack for like if they're applying off campus or on campus, like is there any such thing? Like what all projects should they work on basically?
Regarding projects, like when I choose a project, I try to do something that interests me. Like there are pretty standard projects on the internet, and many recruiters know that they've been pre-made. So make something there's not on the internet, and it doesn't need to be pretty difficult or a huge project. It might be a small project. Like I made a game. Uh, and even you can make projects with your friends. Like me and my friend, we were preparing together, so we together made a game. It was a multiplayer game, so maybe it wasn't that difficult project, but since it was very innovative, and in interview I showed that to the recruiter. It was another interview, but so since he could interact, we could play live in multiplayer. Such projects do help because it was visually appealing, had a good backend, had a good strong front end. So make such projects which you can portray while in an interview, and it should be something new. Like it doesn't need to be very difficult, but it should be new.
Cool. Also, you mentioned that you prepared for data structures and algorithms. So, how much time should a student devote? Like, if he's starting from scratch, like how much time do you think that a person will take to prepare for big companies?
Okay, so like how I'll tell you how I prepared. So I prepared I first prepared ESA theory for about 2 or 3 months. I'd suggest take some course, whichever you like, but take some course, professional course. Study for 2 3 months theory, study the theory completely, and then only start solving questions on maybe on GFC and Decode. I'd suggest to participate in live contest as much as possible. They are going to help you because they give you the idea of the pressure that you are going to feel in the interview. Because in the interview, they are going to give you a problem, and you since like in Expedia, you have to solve 45 two problems in 45 minutes. So if you have that practice of giving contests, you'd be able to solve this. So I'd say solve at least 50 problems on all data structures. That's the minimum number if you are looking for a product based company.
Yeah, correct. And many a times while students are solving questions, like they're not able to solve it and they get demotivated. So, how did you cope up with all that demotivation that was happening?
Yeah, so I too face that. I'll again suggest that prepare with a friend. So maybe if you aren't able to solve it, he might be able to solve it. Don't directly go for the solution. Like try to solve at least 2 3 problems every day. So like if you are directly going to medium or hard level problems, you might not be able to do that. Try solving like first go for medium problems. If you are able to solve, that's good enough. But if you aren't able to solve, then don't keep trying that. Go to easy problems, solve easier problems, and if once you get that flow, you would be able to go to medium problems. Don't directly try to challenge yourself. Start small and then step up the ladder.
Yeah, right. Then people are asking that did you attend any other interview apart from Expedia?
Yeah, so like in October I had interview for Amex. I also cleared that interview. It was a similar interview. So they were also 3 rounds. And in Expedia they didn't focus much on projects. They focused more on data structures and that system design interview. But in Amex, if someone is preparing for Amex, there were 3 rounds, and 2 out of those were mostly based on my project. So you should have good projects if you are preparing for companies like Amex.
Okay. Also, one thing for all the viewers, guys, please ask relevant questions. This is your chance to, ask questions from him. Maybe ask some relevant questions so that I can put those questions in front of him. Okay, cool. Just one second. Okay, so a lot of time students are like there were a lot of comments also that they're not able to like understand the logic of the question. Like they're seeing a question, and if they're seeing the answer to that question, they are able to understand that okay, this is the answer, but they're not able to come up with that approach on their own. So how should they walk up like there?
Okay, so this does happen. It happened to me also. It happens to everyone, I think. So
Like,
the solution to it is do many problems. Like in my interview, I got 3 DP problems. So if someone saw that problem for the first time, I don't think he'd be able to solve that in that duration of time. So the only solution to this is solve as many problems as you can, because it gives you a path. Like if you solve 50 string questions, you know that. There's kind of a way to solve such questions, and only that is going to help you to build that logic. It's not like you will see a problem and you would solve. It's not that like that. You need to solve much questions, practice as much as you can, and then only you'll be able to solve some new questions.
yeah,
There's no shortcut for that practice.
yeah, you should practice. And 50 he mentioned, I think that is the minimum number you should practice.
On data structures.
Yeah. Okay, so Charan is asking that can you please tell us what questions you got in interview? Is it scenario based questions or how the questions will be?
I'm not sure what scenario based question mean. Like
I think the last thing that you mentioned in HR interview that you were
Oh,
mentioning that
oh,
some
oh, in HR, yeah, for in the HR round, you are going to get such scenarios because they want to test how you are because in HR they are testing when they'll be working with you. What is your attitude? How well do you approach to problems? They are not going to. There's no correct answer. So answer honestly, and which questions you got in the interview. So I'm not sure if I can share such those questions, but the DSA questions were mostly based on dynamic programming. So if you are sitting for Expedia, you should have a good grip on DB.
Yeah, cool. So people are asking that competitive programming or development, which one can help them crack an off-campus opportunity?
I mean, I haven't done much
Toughest
competitive.
question of the decade.
I haven't been doing much competitive programming, but regarding competitive, I've been giving contests on Coursera. So do give such contests. They are as I said earlier, they are going to help you. But development is a must because if not for the interview, if okay, it's clear that they are going to focus mostly on DS on the interview. But when once you join the company, you are going to work on development. So you should be familiar with that. You should be comfortable with that. So development is must because at the end you are going to do development. It's not just about the interview. It's about doing software development.
Yeah, and I think that also sets you apart from other students because DSA, I think everyone will do.
Yeah.
Development will set you apart.
Yes, exactly. Your project is going to set you apart. If you have a unique project, it is going to set you apart.
Yeah. So Abhishek also asked this similar question: Is development must for interview? I think it is answered now. Yeah. So Tanmay has asked that what are the tips that you would like to give to a pre-final year student? Some roadmap or something?
Uh, I'm assuming you have a little experience on data structures. So the tip I'll give is do standard questions like you'll find like on GFG if you are preparing for a XYZ company. Do questions for that because maybe in your college a company would be visiting and you'll know priorly 2 3 days. So do such questions and. You should have at least one project. So if you don't have a project, it's high time you should have a project and focus on both DS and development and mostly on DS if you are in pre-final year.
Right. So he has asked that how much experience do you have in development and how many projects have you done till date?
I have the most of my experience is in development. I don't have much experience in data structures. So I did 2 3 years development for first to third year, and I've made 7 8 projects on Flutter and React. Well, both are Android and website. So you should if you are in first or second year, you should explore as much as you can both Android and web development. Whichever you like, go in that field and prepare at least one or two projects for the final year. So in the first or second year, I say that you should go for development.
Right. So next thing Shreyas has asked that can skills beat marks in these interviews? I think he is asking that did your CGPA matter in the interview because
I'll
you
say CGPA didn't matter because for this same company, me and my friend both sat for the interviews. We both gave the test. We both cleared both the questions, but he didn't get interview calls. So maybe CGPA is something that matters.
CGPA
You
mattered
should
there.
focus on CGPA. I'd say CGPA is.
Yeah, even in on-campus, I think CGPA matters a lot. While
Yeah, yeah.
short.
Yeah, while shortlisting CGPA does matter, but if you are at a stage where you can't improve your CGPA, I'm not saying that that skills can't beat. Obviously, if you have great skills, you can beat.
Yeah, I think an 8.5 plus is okay in a college.
8.5 plus is good.
Yeah. So how did you manage your time? Because you said that you managed DSA also, then development also you did. Then your CGPA is also so good. So how did you manage so many things at the same time?
Yeah, my CGPA is good because I actually loved engineering, so I love to study. But while because into 2019 Corona came and we had about a year to prepare in the lockdown. So I did utilize that time, and such is the case with the people right now who are preparing. So utilize this Corona time. And you won't get this much time while when the college reopens. So utilize this time.
Right. Cool. I'll just take few comments. Also, Jasvi, did you prepare any Expedia specific thing like before the interviews, as you mentioned that there was 1 week? So, did you prepare something specifically for Expedia and like not for?
Yeah. In that week, I only prepared for Expedia. Like I explored GFG archives. So in those archives, I could see that in Expedia they ask DB questions. So I practiced mostly those questions only. I didn't waste much time doing all.
Okay. And like, do the questions repeat or something, or maybe the pattern of the question
The
repeat?
pattern does repeat because the pattern was that they are going to ask DB questions and they did ask DB questions. So it might repeat.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, people are saying that you are an inspiration. He does so many things: coding, gaming, engineering, good CGPA.
Oh yeah, these are my friends. Just
Yeah. Time management, I think, is already answered. Uh, that how did he manage his time, right? How much percentage of questions repeated? Okay,
the
I don't.
questions aren't going to repeat, but the topic may repeat because they might be asking about like if you are sitting for a company like Uber, they do ask questions on graph. So you should
Right,
have strong grip on graph. So company wise, question the topic repeats, but I'm not sure if the question is going to repeat or not.
right. Hmm. Okay, people are asking about your startup Cobble
Yeah.
apps. Can you tell about that?
Yeah. So back in my college days, since I said I love development, so I created a startup with two of my friends, and we built Android and web apps. So for our college, we created a website where yearbook kind of website. So we did such projects in college. I'm not sure how much successful it as a startup it is, but
Hmm.
it did help me gain confidence in building projects and solving real world problems.
Right, right. And then Bilwa is asking that did Geeks for Geeks archives helps in the coding
Yes,
round and
yes, yes, they did help. Whichever company it is going to help. It helped me for Amex. It did help me for Expedia. Do go through GFG archives. They are going to help you the most.
okay. Then there are a lot of questions that if they want to start DSA from scratch, so which website should they go for, and should they study first and then go for the questions, or should they do questions and like study side by
Uh,
side?
I'd say study first because when we do questions, we are going to get stuck. Like you said, we aren't going to get that thought process, and we'll get demotivated. So the right part is like in any case, first go through the theory, then only go to questions. So I'll say first do a 2-3 months course, like maybe on YouTube or any such course, and try problems along with it. But when solving those hard problems, you should
Hmm.
be thorough with your base.
Also, in your interview, were there questions from CS fundamentals like DBMS, OS, DCC, and questions were there or no?
Not for Expedia, but in Amex they did ask me multiple questions on DBMS. So in as you go for product-based companies, they aren't going to ask much questions on these core concepts. They are mainly going to focus on DSA. So uh,
Okay,
DSA.
so like for Expedia, like they don't ask only, or was it the case just with you that they
No,
didn't ask?
no, they don't ask. If you go through GFG archives for Expedia, you'd see that they don't ask those questions.
Okay, and for like other companies, as you mentioned, so where can these guys prepare for the same thing like CS fundamentals?
CS. Since I was from a non CS branch, I prepared for such subjects from YouTube only. There are playlists for gate preparation, gate CS preparation. Go through those; they'll help you.
Okay. Then if one week in coding, then what IT jobs can they apply? What IT jobs? I think he's asking that what all, like, as there's an SD role, like what all jobs can, for what all jobs can a person apply if he's a fresher in IT? I think
With
that,
1 week in coding. I mean,
yeah, I don't really understand what is the meaning of that, but I think what all roles can a person apply for? I think he's asking that.
the roles that you can apply for as a fresher are these like SD and SDET, which is software development engineering test. So you can
Right.
apply as a test engineer or a development engineer, and people also apply for product roles as product engineer. There are companies like Wipro which offer such roles.
Yeah. So, think they're asking that is competitive programming important? I think you already answered that.
Giving contests is important. I don't know about competitive programming.
Yeah, because online assessments you have to give in a particular amount of time. I think that is
Yeah,
important. That you have to
yeah.
solve 4 questions in 1 hour.
And also those questions are new questions. You aren't going to find solution anywhere. So those are new questions. So the thing that you're asking me, how to build that thought process, it will help you to solve those questions.
Right. So next thing Ajay is asking that do they ask questions on machine learning?
I'm sorry, I do not have experience in machine learning. So maybe if you say that you have projects in machine learning, they might ask you those.
Yeah, I think it totally depends what all is there in your resume.
Yeah, what kind of projects you've done?
Yeah, right. So if you are mentioning machine learning in your resume, they're definitely going to ask you questions on that.
Yeah, they're definitely going to ask you that.
Yes. Then the next question is, can knowing system design help? Were there any questions on system design?
Yeah, it depends on the company. So in Expedia, there was a system design interview. Mostly it depends on the company. So system in Expedia, they are going to ask you a few questions on system design.
Yeah. And what was the level? It was like the beginner level, right?
The beginner level, because I sat for such an interview for the first time. I told the interviewer that I even told him that I sat for the first time. So he was pretty helpful.
Yeah, I think being honest is also very helpful in the
Yeah,
interviews.
being honest is definitely helpful because they are there to help you. So be as honest as you can and try to communicate with them.
A lot of time it happens that the interviewer asks you questions and suppose you don't know any question. Like, did something like this happen with you? Like, suppose they ask you a DSA question and you're not aware about it. Then what should a student do in such situations?
Mm, I mean, it hasn't happened with me, but if it does happen, you can come up with whatever. Like when you see the question, whatever comes to your mind, you should convey it to him. So if there is something, if you are going in a wrong direction, he'll correct you. That you should think that way, or maybe that he'll nudge you in the right direction.
Right. And otherwise, if you have not studied the topic, also, I think they can just tell the interviewer honestly that they have not done it, right?
Yeah, you should be very honest. Like I didn't have much experience in operating system. There was an interview where they asked me questions. I told him that I'm not aware with it. So you should be honest with them.
Okay. So people are asking that what language, is there any language preference in Expedia or something?
I don't know if there's any language preference. I did C++. So people now are doing Python. So maybe.
Right. Then he has asked that did you follow any particular roadmap for learning and while preparing for it?
I don't know any such roadmap, but the roadmap is to do as much DS problems as you can and prepare few projects. That's the roadmap.
Yeah, and for everyone, I think the roadmap is different. The preparation journey for everyone is different, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, so he's asking your system design interview questions. Maybe you can tell the topics, not the exact questions.
I can tell you the questions, but the if you go on GFG archive, you'll find what kind of questions they ask. Like as I said, there's a article on GFG where you can find multiple system design questions. If you go through those 10 20 questions, you'll be able to solve most questions. Yeah, and that too for the beginner level. I'm not sure about experienced system design questions. If you are at SD1 level, you'd be good.
Right. Okay. I think we've answered all the relevant questions. What can we approach for the freshers? Mm-mm. I Okay, so people are asking that dynamic programming is so tough. So how did you prepare specifically for this?
Yes, dynamic programming is a little tough. The solution is there are certain standard questions on dynamic programming. Like there are 10 20 questions that give you the feel of all the kind of questions that might go around dynamic programming. So once you have strong practice on recursion, you should practice those 10 20 questions, and I think you would be able to handle those.
Yeah, like again, practice is the key. Like only if you'll practice, you'll be able to solve questions, right? Right. I think we've taken all the comments. Guys, we'll wait for another 1 minute. If you have any other question, please put it quickly in the comment section. Otherwise, we can wrap up the webinar. I'll just wait. We can just wait for 1 minute. If they have any other questions, they can put it in the comment section. Okay. What topic about oops? Was oops asked?
Yeah, like there are four basic topics on OOPS. You should those four pillars on OOPS. You should be aware on that, and you should also be aware on implementation of such object-oriented programs. Topics that you get in the interview. Oh, they ask you about polymorphism. In majority of the interview, they are going to ask you about runtime polymorphism, and there are some standard questions on OOPS. So you should be familiar with that.
Charan is asking that what language is very important for initial learners and what type of software. Okay. Uh, Basically, he's asking that what language can a fresher start with, like
Uh,
starting, I think.
in college, in the first year, we had C and C++ programming course. So I started with C and then went to C++. I did a little Java, but I liked C++ more. So people should start with. I'm not sure what the curriculum now is, but I think they should start with C and C++. They teach you the most.
Right. Only one language is enough for getting good job and high salary. Yes. And as far as the salary part is concerned, I think for now you should focus on learning and that will automatically follow.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Any other theory based questions that you had from other college subjects?
You get if they'll ask you questions on DBMS and operating system. If whichever subject you're more comfortable with, you can tell the interviewer like I was comfortable with DBMS and operating system and object oriented programming. So I had most of my questions based on that.
Right. So there is a lot of buzz about ML, blockchain, and all these days, and like web development, everyone is doing. So do you think that having all this in your resume will help in, like setting you apart for?
Yeah, it purely depends on the type of job you are applying for. I never did machine learning and all. I was more oriented toward development projects. So if you are, I think you should go with your interest. If you are interested in machine learning, you should go for it.
Right. Like don't do it just because everyone is doing it. Do it if you're interested.
Yeah, do whatever excites you. Do what.
Right. So Arisha has asked that if she has to start development, like how to get started with it. And by development, I'm assuming she's saying web development.
Yeah, go with a course, good course. Maybe you might have heard of Code's course. I did web development from that Code's course on Udemy, or there's a course by Angela. You can do that course. So go with a good course and make projects.
Yeah, then people are asking that did you face any difficulties during the interview?
Uh, dif- difficult.
Difficulties as in while answering questions, I believe he's asking. While answering questions, or
Mm.
there were some questions that, gave you a tough
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. They are definitely going to ask him. You can't know it all. So there were some questions which I didn't know. I answered them, and like at the end when the interviewer asks you what was like, if you have any questions for me, you can ask them. Is there something that where I was wrong? Something that they'll tell you, yeah, to improve this or that. So if once you start sitting for interviews, you should ask for feedbacks, and they'll tell you where you were wrong. And once you keep correcting that, you won't face much difficulties in interviews. Just stay honest.
Right, right. And as everything is going virtual, so what if a student faces difficulty in the, technical thing, like what if their audio video goes or something? So is that a red flag, or will that affect your selection or anything?
It might affect in interviews that are time limited, like in data structures round. They if they've given you 45 minutes to solve two questions and internet goes off, they it might be a red flag. So internet should be good.
Right. So how did you brush up the day before? Like what all did
Uh,
you just a
like
day before?
not the day before, but the week prior to the interviews. As I said, I went through GFG archives and solved those questions.
Yeah. So next question that he has asked is how many hours do you give to coding every day? Is there any particular time span that is there?
I spend most of my coding hours in development. So when it's not like I gave every day on coding. Someday I'll sit for 5 to 6 hours. Someday I might not sit at all and focus on my college subjects. So in an average, you should be giving at least 6 7 hours a week to coding. At least 6 7 hours.
Yeah, and I think it varies from person to person, depends
Yeah.
on how much you already know.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So I think we've covered all the questions, and with this, we come to an end of this webinar. Apart from this, if they have any other questions, please feel free to approach Ojasvi on LinkedIn. We will put his LinkedIn profile in the description box below. Yes, thank you so much for joining and sharing your interview experience with us, Ojasvi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, guys. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope it was helpful to all of you, and we will see you in the next webinar. Bye bye.